Breaking news. Famed pathologist Michael Baden says Epstein's autopsy is more consistent with homicide and not suicide, saying strangulation. Now, we've heard this before. Okay, it's been insinuated that was the case because of broken bones in the neck. Some people tried to refute it. Strangely, a bunch of journalists were like, well, hold on, everybody. It's quite possible this is really just what it is. Full stop. At this point, okay, the simple solution is that Epstein was killed. Now, I'm not saying definitively he was. I'm not saying I know what happened. And no, I am not going to push the idea that he was. I'm just going to read you a story from Fox News. But we all know how this turns out for me, right? Here's the point. Do we know what happened? No. Do I want to encourage you to believe one way or the other? No. But I will point out the irregular security guards, the broken cameras, the lax security, all of the problems around this, followed by now a second statement referring to this as a homicide. Listen, man, okay? If you think this was all a coincidence, you're a conspiracy theorist. It just so happens that all of these strange things happened, right? But I'm not going to tell you definitively because I require proof. Now, it's interesting that Dr. Michael Baden is saying this, but again, it's his opinion as a doctor. It's possible that when you hang yourself, you break necks. You break bones in your neck. He's saying, no, it looks like strangulation. That, sure, who am I to argue? And so right now it is not confirmed, but we should read through the story. I do want to give you one important bit of information, though, before we move on. Did you know that for all of his fame, Elvis Presley, this rock star who's heralded as this great icon, only ever won 3 Emmys, and Epstein didn't kill himself? Okay, that's the joke, and I did that specifically to bring up the meme that's been going around and why this story is particularly significant right now. Not that long ago, on the front page of All, which on Reddit, okay, so r/all, like every subreddit, there was I forgot which subreddit it was. It was, what is it called? There was an attempt. And it's basically a forum, for those that aren't familiar, that tries to highlight people failing at something, trying to do something and not getting away with it. And it said there was an attempt, and then the image just says to cover up Epstein's murder as a suicide to protect rich pedophiles. That was it's a half joke, right? Like, no one definitively knows what happens, but people are like, shouldn't we, dig into this? Because isn't everybody on Twitter, left and right, are going like, okay, here's the thing about Epstein, right? And why this meme is so funny. The meme transcends politics. It's like regular people sharing it because nobody believes he killed himself. But here's the thing. He was on suicide watch. He had tried to kill himself before. We don't know what happened, so I do air quotes. And then he does, and there's a fake an irregular security guard. The cameras aren't working. Camera broken. There's no videotapes. It's all so coincidental. You'd have to be a conspiracy theorist to believe this, okay? But let's read the story from Fox News. And then I've actually got another thing I want to show you. The madman, Luke Rudkowski, who... with reckless abandon, actually went to Epstein's private island. You've probably seen the video. It's got hundreds of thousands of views. Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change went to Epstein's private island. I think he's nuts. This crazy, but he did. I don't want to say like they uncovered any great evidence, but you get to see like this weird statues and like it's weird. So let's read about what's going on and why they think this was homicide. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. I really got to do these promos, guys. I'm sorry. I was trying to not do them, but we just saw evidence the other day. It was this big, huge hubbub on YouTube where data was leaked proving they are throttling content. So I know for a fact they're throttling my content, and there's like multiple vectors of how they're doing it. The only way I can continue doing this is if you guys think my content is good and share it, because YouTube is doing the inverse. But you know what? Maybe at a certain point, this ceases to exist and there's no more videos from me anymore, and I'll go make van videos. I don't know. Well, that's coming too, by the way. But let's read. Fox News says the body of disgraced money man and I'll just say it. I'm gonna get in trouble on YouTube. Sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in his Manhattan federal prison cell in August, bore telltale signs of homicide, despite an official ruling that he killed himself. A pioneering forensic pathologist revealed to Fox and Friends in an exclusive interview Wednesday. The bombshell claim by Dr. Michael Baden, a former New York City medical examiner who has worked on high-profile cases during a 5-decade medical career, is certain to reignite suspicions that surfaced immediately after Epstein, who was awaiting trial, was discovered dead in his cell on August 10th. Baden, who was hired by Epstein's brother, and observed the autopsy, told Fox News its findings are more consistent with homicidal strangulation than suicidal hanging. He noted that the 66-year-old Epstein had 2 fractures on his left and right sides of his larynx, specifically the thyroid cartilage or Adam's apple, as well as 1 fracture on the left hyoid bone above the Adam's apple. Those 3 fractures are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. While there's not enough information to be conclusive yet, the 3 fractures were rare, said Baden, whose probed cases involve O.J. Simpson, John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King. This dude, this is a famed, respected guy, man. He says, I've not seen in 50 years where that occurred in a suicidal hanging case, the 85-year-old medical legend told Fox News. I'm going to have to say, it sounds like he's being conservative on his assessment and that he really wants to blurt out it was murder, but he can't. Because they'll go after him, they'll smear him, and there's powerful people at play. Which again, why I think Luke from We Are Change is nuts for going on Epstein's island. But I'm surprised that video wasn't deleted immediately. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Let's read this. Baden, who's examined more than 20,000 bodies and hosted HBO's Autopsy, explained that if a person weighed 120 pounds and their head weighed 10 pounds, there would be 110 pounds of pressure on the neck at the jaw during a hanging. But if someone put a hand around a person's neck and squeezed, that could double or even triple the pressure on the neck. There were also hemorrhages in Epstein's eyes that were common in homicidal strangulation and uncommon, though not unheard of, in suicidal hangings, he said. The prominent hemorrhage in the soft tissues of the neck next to the fracture is evidence of a fresh neck compression that could have caused the death. Baden stressed his independent study was not complete. The investigation is not completed until all the information has come in. Epstein was found in a cell. We get that. We know about Epstein, yada, yada, yada. He said it was unknown to him and the Epstein family what work the feds may have done and what results they may have. Listen, man. Actually, I'll read this for a second. The ligature or term or item used to tie something tightly allegedly was made from a sheet that had been twisted and put around Epstein's neck, Baden said. Evidence on the cloth material could help prove whether or not someone else was involved. Whoever it is would have their DNA all over the ligature. We don't have those results yet, saying the results should be reported quickly to give an idea and lessen the speculation. Yeah, that'll never happen. All right, so we get the gist of it. It's not the first time we've heard this. It's a very similar thing we heard recently after, I believe maybe even been Baden. But now we have more evidence, more broken bones, and a lot of special interests that don't want his information to get out. Now let's stop here. I don't know what dirt Epstein may or may not have had. We don't know anything. Is it possible? Yeah, there were a lot of high-profile individuals, including the president, who have, met with Epstein or whatever. Now, the left is trying to claim that it's Trump and his administration who silenced Epstein, and the right is claiming, it's Podesta or Hillary or whatever, and I don't care who would have done it. A lot of people had motive if he did have dirt. Apparently, he had an island. Women have testified as to what was going on those islands, and there's royalty involved. Yeah, I think it's fair to say there's a lot of people who don't want any of this to come out. Now, one of the conspiracy theories is that, and I'll make sure I say, I hereby disavow and disagree with this theory, that Epstein was secretly filming high-profile individuals to use as blackmail, and that's how he made his money. I don't know about any of that stuff, man. I do not agree with, and I disavow all of the conspiracies. Mainly because while you may think you know the answer, until we have definitive proof where you can hold it up and say, deny it, you can't, right? Hold up the proof. You're not going to get anywhere by jumping the gun. Let the investigation take its course. Don't let people forget and make sure we stay on top of this. It's very important. Now, that being said, I got to make sure I highlight this because, dude, Luke, crazy. First ever extensive look inside Epstein's pedophile island. So it was cleared out, basically. They say We Are Change's Luke Rudkowski and dollar vigilantes Jeff Berwick stormed Little St. James Island and explained to viewers what they found in a video posted to YouTube. While there has been drone footage of the isolated area where Epstein and other high-profile figures allegedly engaged in, yes, offensive, very, very offensive acts, we get it. Man, they say it a lot, don't they? Luke went to the island. There's some interesting things here. So one of the things he tweeted, some of the strange art that I found on Epstein's island. You've got this weird statue. I don't know what that statue is supposed to be of. The interesting thing, however, is that this temple box that people have seen photos of, those aren't real doors. It is painted. Now, this is crazy to me. When I first saw this image, I thought those were doors. But apparently it's 3D painting, and they walked up, and it was confusing me watching. I'm like, wait, what's happening? It's just straight paint. I don't know where the door is or what that building is supposed to be, but that's kind of creepy. Now, for the most part, they walk around and they just, you see the sundial and you see a bunch of weird stuff. It's really interesting how like paved and like built up this place is. But for the most part, everything's been cleared out. I guess they went into offices. I don't know. Nuts. You got to be crazy to do this kind of stuff, man, if you were to ask me. But, oh, what's this? That new action? Is this an old story? This might be an old story. Well, we'll pop it open and see what happens anyway. But basically, they went around and they didn't find much of anything, but you do get to see the weird art. You get to see the stuff up close and personal while they describe how they, essentially stormed the island. What a lot of people apparently don't realize is there's 2 islands. And apparently some of the activities are still going on the other island called Greater St. James. That's why I think this is more significant. Now, I don't know what this story is. Yeah, this is from August, so, whatever. I'll leave it there. Check out Luke's video. It's got a ton of views. His channel is We Are Change, and he went to the island, and I think he's nuts. I think, man, whatever's going on with Epstein, whatever you want to think, I don't know. There's so many conspiracies that are flying around like crazy. I'll just say there's powerful individuals, be it the FBI, Epstein's, associates and accomplices who kind of vanished. And they've got interests in protecting those interests, protecting their safety, security, and interests. You get the point. We got this story coming out right now. The Epstein story is not over with. And now with this meme that's going viral where people will write a fact and then at the end just insert Epstein didn't kill himself, which is hilarious, by the way, the story's not going away. In fact, maybe the meme is one of the most powerful things that anyone can do. Now, think about it. There was a meme for a while. Whenever someone died, there would be a fake tweet that says that I have evidence that will result in the arrest of Hillary Clinton. Because the meme was making fun of the conspiracy theory that the Clintons, kill people. Well, that made regular people post the meme about nonsensical things that were like TV shows that were canceled or, people who died of a heart attack because it was funny. But it actually spread around that idea. With Epstein, once again, these are unproven conspiracies. Conspiracy is such a dumb word, but the idea that, whatever. The point is, I'm on Reddit and I'm looking at like normal, not political Reddits, and somebody will post a joke where they're like, did you know that in 1963 at NASA, they were developing a new kind of space pen that could write using a pressurized cartridge and that Epstein didn't kill himself? And so that's the joke, right? When regular people start getting in on that joke, then it spreads the idea around, kind of like it's piggybacking off of a joke meant to be funny. Everybody then wants to be involved in it and be like, ooh, I got an idea, I want to make one, and you hope that your meme rises to the front page. Well, apparently like every week on the subreddit There Was an Attempt, which is frequently in the front page of all, r/all, which is every Reddit. Apparently every week it says your weekly reminder. There was an attempt to cover up Epstein's murder to protect, high-profile pedophiles. So I'll wrap it up there. You get the point. Check out Luke's video. That's about it. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, this guy can claim all of these things. He says, hey, I think this was, strangulation or whatever. He's a famous guy. He's credible. At the end of the day, who do you trust? I think most people are going to trust him just because the story sounds fishy. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. I will see you all then.